Are you a top 1% man? Now, before you go down the rabbit hole to figure out whether you fit into this really small percentage of men, it's important to know what even makes someone a top 1% man. And trust me, it goes far beyond what you think. We're not just talking about looks or money here. Some guys are often described as NPCs or non-playable characters. This is a gaming term used to describe people who don't really have a purpose or a mission in the game. They just exist to fill the game's world and make it more realistic. In reality, they're just people who live through life without achieving much, other than existing. Nothing more, nothing less. These NPCs make up a huge part of the populace, and while they aren't achieving a special goal or being famous, they are still necessary to fill the void, or act as the audience. They are basically background characters, and if you've seen any movie or read any book, you can tell that background characters are normally unimportant and are soon forgotten. The painful reality is that most men today are exactly that. Background characters or NPCs who just exist and aren't doing or achieving much. They wake up, do the same routine for the whole day, and then go to bed and repeat the sequence the next day. That is what they call life. And while it isn't very stimulating or special, they are good with it and keep surviving. However, that isn't what life is meant to be like, and no one really wants to live such a life. Being a top 1% man is easier said than done, but it should be what every man should work towards and hope to be. If you aren't a top 1% man, or at least working towards it, then you haven't lived your life to the fullest, which means you aren't at the peak of your existence just yet. A top 1% man is a dude that is considered a high-value man in every area of their life, which includes their income, lifestyle, and personality. Every guy in the world aspires and wishes to be a part of the top 1% of men. However, as we know, all those wishes and aspirations remain just that and nothing more. This is because those guys quickly realize it takes more than words to become a top 1% man. The high income, the strong body, the exotic travels, the pretty women, the fancy cars, the luxurious mansions and the like, all look great to a large percentage of men. However, it is that top 1% that makes all these wishes and aspirations a reality. The fact that you are watching this video means you are actually interested in making an effort to become a top 1% man. And it takes a lot of effort and hard work, with a touch of consistency over a long time for it to work out. Most men fail because they want the benefits of being a top 1% man, but they aren't ready to make the necessary changes to get to that level. One way of becoming a high-value or top 1% man is by cultivating habits that will put you on the right track to achieve this goal, and we'll be looking at 7 habits to help you become just that. 1. Know what being a top 1% man means. If you ask any random guy, they will tell you that being a top 1% man means being super wealthy or having all the ladies at your beck and call. Sure enough, these two are part of what makes a man high value, but they aren't nearly enough for you to be considered part of the top 1%. This common misunderstanding has sent a bunch of guys on a journey of no return to search for something that they hardly have any understanding of. Being a top 1% or high-value man is all about how you present yourself and having the right attitude. The way you carry yourself when you enter a room full of other men and you walk like a lion among sheep. That is the way of a top 1% man. The key to achieving this goal is putting in consistent work so you can develop the mindset and fortitude to become a high-value man. Of course, you know that this is not a short-term job. 2. Take charge of your day. The daily habit of a top 1% man starts from the beginning of the day. And no, this isn't one of those videos where they tell you to wake up at 4 a.m. and sleep at 3 a.m. What I mean by taking charge of your day involves what happens when you wake up in the morning. Just like anyone, every man is met with 2 decisions when they open their eyes in the morning: continue dreaming or get up and chase those dreams. This is like the infamous red pill blue pill scene in The Matrix, and just like that case, there are 2 kinds of people. The dreamers are men who are not ready to make the necessary effort to become a top 1% man. Hence, they are the background characters or NPCs. However, the men who get up to chase their dreams are the men that become a part of the top 1% because they are ready to put in the work. 3. Setting goals. Let me put you through 2 different scenarios. The first scenario follows a man named Jack. Jack is one of those happy-go-lucky guys who doesn't really care about much and just enjoys the day as it comes. On the other hand, there is John. John knows that if he wants to achieve anything with his life, he is going to have to work more than anyone else. He considers his life a journey to being at the top and effortlessly works towards it. When John is reading in the library or heading to his work, Jack reminds him that the world could end in the next minute. He could die, and all his effort would have been for nothing. Looking at these two scenarios, which one of these men do you think will make it into the top 1%? It is definitely not Jack, because not only is Jack not ready to put in the work, he isn't even goal-oriented. Unlike John, Jack lives in his mom's basement and only knows how to live easily, while John is at the top of his career and still working hard. What sets these men apart is their life goals. And what can make you a top 1% man is the goal you choose to implement with your life. 4. Achieve total freedom. Being free goes beyond living in a first world country where they practice democracy and you have freedom of speech. Total freedom for any man is being able to achieve financial freedom, location freedom, and time freedom. If you are working a 9-to-5 and making $500K a year, but you are at the mercy of your boss and your job for the most part, that isn't freedom. However, if you earn $5K a month, but your job does not limit you, and you are able to work wherever and whenever, that is freedom. Sure, you are making less money, but you actually have the freedom to enjoy your time and invest it into learning things that could earn you more. That is real freedom, and that is being rich. This is the lifestyle of the top 1% of men. Now in this example, you could of course save the $500K per year, with a plan to work 5 years and invest the money into something that gives you $10K per month return. It's okay to sacrifice some time if there is a purpose to it, but don't become trapped by your lifestyle. 5. Improve your confidence. There is a thin line between being confident and being proud, and the problem is most men cannot tell the difference, let alone make the distinction between which one they are. Usually, guys confuse their unnecessary and baseless pride with confidence. As one would expect, a woman will normally take them down a few levels. Almost everyone can tell when you are being confident or just being proud. And most times, it is the women who would say something as they wreck what's left of your fake self-esteem. Being confident means being comfortable with yourself. And only high-value men have achieved perfect confidence. At that stage, you know that you aren't chasing anything unnecessary and even end up attracting more to yourself. Achieving this confidence takes time and effort, either by building that perfect body or becoming a high-income earner. Either choice requires time, consistency, and a whole load of hard work. 6. Avoid being too available. Let's use a plane as an example here. What makes the plane's first class and economy class parts so different? The simple answer will be the price, but it goes far beyond that. The first class part of the plane is only available to people who are worth it or have paid top dollar to earn the seat. However, economy class is available to everyone, so no one takes it that seriously. In that same way, you can't be considered high value if you make yourself available to everyone. Life is all about priorities, and while you must make priorities with your goals and your life, you also have to make priorities with who can access you. Making yourself easily available to everyone reduces your worth as a man, making you less of a top 1% man than you would like. 7. Surround yourself with like-minded people. While this might be the last point, it is definitely not the least important one. To become a top 1% man, you must surround yourself with like-minded people who will push you to the top. If you surround yourself with losers, you will end up as a loser, and everyone knows that the people you spend the most time with impact you significantly. Thanks to the internet, you can now learn from the likes of Iman Gadzhi, Jordan Peterson, Hamza, Joe Rogan, and many other men who, like you, are on the same path of continuous self-improvement. These are the kinds of people you should pay attention to and spend time with. When you become a high-value man, you will start creating connections with people on the same level as you, which will enhance your worth and potential for further growth enormously. Lastly, the journey to be a top 1% man is a harsh one, filled with struggles and trials that would make just about anyone give up. That is exactly why it is called the top 1% and not the top 100%. It takes a focused and determined man to put in the effort to become a special man. Never forget that. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like the video. Also, hit us up in the comments section. Until next time.